Welcome to our Bachelorette, whatever, recap show called Go Get That Rose. I'm your host, Sarah, and I'm joined by my co-host, J Wade.
Hey, hello.
We are recapping Hannah Brown's Bachelorette Season 15, Episode 7. We're starting halfway through the season. Me and Jay, we have recapped some of the episodes on the Afterlife podcast, but we have so much fun that we've decided to make our own podcast. So here we are.
For sure, it's always been a good time. I mean, I started watching it to do those little recaps with you, and I've found myself completely interested in it now.
I sold you with how crazy the show is.
Yeah, you did, because before you sold me, I was just watching 10 or 15 minute clip recap videos on YouTube, and then I was like, I bet I got to be missing more than what I'm seeing in this. So
yeah,
I started watching
the, little random things that are in each episode.
Yeah, and the facial expressions from like the guys or Hannah or you don't. Yeah, because I don't know. In recap stuff, it's the highlights, but a lot of the time it's the back. If you look in the background and you're looking at the guys and what they're thinking and what's on their faces, that's some of the good stuff.
Yeah, that's what sells it and makes it fun. So you start watching just during the season. I've been kind of keeping up with Bachelor for a couple of seasons since Nick's season, which was like 4 years ago. So I don't know that much because the show has been on since like 2001, but I know a little bit about Bachelor, so we'll guide the people through our recaps. But right off the bat, we have some of the Bachelor Nation news, and you asked me what exactly Bachelor Nation is. And Bachelor Nation is, for people that don't know, it's basically like the fandom of Bachelor, so it's what fans call themselves, and it's really made up of any contestants from The Bachelor, Bachelorette, or Bachelor in Paradise, and it's just kind of like a close-knit family, like with the fans, and we love to just know information about everyone, like any kind of fandom. So
the actual former contestants, they're interacting with the fans in this Bachelor Nation thing?
Yeah, they'll interact with the fans. It's just kind of like the name that fans call
overall hype.
Call themselves, call any former contestants. I mean, like, a lot of them become like best friends with each other. A lot of them date each other from like people from, if they're not on the same seasons or even in Bachelor in Paradise, they'll meet someone else and from Bachelor Nation, air quotations, and they'll start dating each other. It happens all the time. But in Bachelor Nation, we had Chris and Crystal from Bachelor in Paradise last season. They met on there. Chris was from the Bachelorette season Becca last year, and then Crystal was from Ari's Bachelor season last year. They met on Bachelor in Paradise. They got engaged during the show's finale, and they just got married last week during this season's filming in Mexico. They're filming this season right now, so they just got married. So I'm sure we'll see their wedding during Bachelor in Paradise. And then
will they actually have the wedding on Bachelor in Paradise?
I'm sure. They did it before, I think, a couple seasons ago. They aired the wedding of, I didn't watch that season, but I heard they aired a wedding. And, I mean, Crystal and Chris they love the spotlight, so I'm sure they were like, yeah, go ahead, air it. I think it's the same way Ashley and Jarrett got engaged last season on Bachelor in Paradise, and they told Jared, like, yeah, we'll plan everything, we'll fly you guys out here, just like get engaged here. So I'm sure they covered a lot of the cost for the wedding just for them to like air it and get the publicity for it. I mean, free wedding, like or a half off a wedding, I don't know, I would do it.
Yeah, that's hard to say no to.
Yeah.
But sorry to have cut you off. I just was curious if they'd air that. So
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they'll air anything they can, like anything to get people to tune in and watch, because they're gonna cut promos about it like crazy just to get people to watch this season.
It makes sense.
But the last news that broke last week, and that will kick us off into our recap. One of the contestants, and people would say the front runner of this season, Jed Wyatt, it came out in People magazine that he had a serious girlfriend before he left and during the filming of the show. And he was dating this girl for I think about 4 months before he left. And she posted like pictures and a note that he left her saying like, I know this is going to be hard, but it's a big step in our relationship. And
Wow.
he told her he like loved her before they left, like all the
Oh, yeah.
all this stuff. And then he came back after filming and completely ghosted her and didn't say anything. So people are kind of wondering what exactly happened. No one really knows how far he's made it yet. If he ends up being with Hannah, so it's just.
Oh man. I never even thought of that. I was just, when you started saying that, I'm assuming that he was just, even a dirtier dog than it took to go and do that when he had a girlfriend. I was just thinking he probably got booted, came back, and then just was like, forget her, I can move on and find somebody better or something like that. But I never even thought about the possibility that she could actually pick this dude.
Well, so people are starting to wonder now, like, if he's going to tell her, and if he's the one. There's a theory going around that he's the one that's going to come back and propose to Hannah and not Luke, and it's like a bait and switch that he ends up telling Hannah that he had a girl, because he told Hannah on his one-on-one in Boston that he came on the show just to get famous and for his music career, but didn't tell her he had a girlfriend.
Yeah,
kind of like, okay. I mean, it's kind of sketchy, and it really puts him in a bad light right now, because the whole time I'm watching this episode, I'm just like, I know what you did. I know that you're lying. Like, it's just, I don't know.
I can't keep the names straight yet. It's like Survivor for me. At first, I don't care. I make up goofy names for them based on stuff they do. But when they start getting down to like 4 or 5, then I can keep up with names. So
yes.
I found myself sitting there like it's hard for me to keep track of who's who, but Jed, I definitely know who that is based on the Boston thing, because I just think he's such a dog, and I don't understand how she could put up with half of these guys, but let alone when you come out and tell them that I came here to use you basically, but I really like you now. And it's like, okay, I totally believe you, but hey, that's why it's Bachelorette and not Bachelor, and I'm not the one up there, so.
I think, and I told my husband this last night, I think The Bachelorette is a lot more entertaining for me to watch, just because it's more entertaining to watch of like 30 guys battle it out than 30 girls, just because like the girls are more sneaky and like catty, and it's like that kind of drama, but the guys will like get up in each other's face and start like pumping fists, and you know what I mean, like they just, it's so much more entertaining. And I think it's because all of these guys are probably the hottest guy of their friend group, so when you put them all in a room, they all just start to be like, oh, I'm not the hottest one. It's, I don't know, I just think it's so much more fun to watch because they're just unraveling. Like you can just tell they're all like, oh, I'm not, Hannah likes this guy, like I look better, especially Luke. Like I'm sure Luke thinks that he was the best looking out of everyone. But
he thinks he's golden child right now, which is really weird because she has pretty much told him without directly telling him that he is not in good shape right now.
No, he's on thin ice.
But he seems to be shocked that he's not, that he's, that dude's delusional.
Well, we will spend a lot of time talking about Luke in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, he's hard not to just jump right into.
Because he's the entire episode. Everything's always about Luke, so it is hard. But let's jump right in. So we open, and we're in Latvia. I have no idea where that is. I've never heard of it.
I actually Googled it.
Oh, okay. Where is it?
It is in Northern Europe. It borders Estonia and Russia.
Oh, okay.
So
that makes sense. Yeah, I was like, I've never heard of this, so that's.
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I never knew exactly where it was, so I had to Google it too. Man.
Well, it seems beautiful, and
it looks nice.
We're at the point in our season where we only have 9 guys left. at the beginning of the episode, and I guess I'll just name them. We have Luke P, our favorite. Just kidding. We have Connor, who hasn't like been on screen for a very long time. We have Peter, Dustin, Dylan, Tyler C, Jed, Mike, our hopefully future bachelor.
Yes.
And Garrett. And Garrett actually gets our first one-on-one date.
Oh wow.
What are your impressions of Garrett, just right off the bat?
Well, you got to understand that for me watching it, I'm not personality wise and like keeping up with my looks and prepping myself up. That's not my style. So it's hard for me to really relate to these guys. You know what I mean? But putting that aside, he seems like a nice guy, and he's got a nice look to him, but there's just something that's really off about him, but I can't even come close to placing what it is.
Oh my gosh. He is very put together. His hair is always like just perfectly like up and like floof. I don't know. I liked him at first, and I really don't like him. He's really getting on my nerves. He's like nice with Hannah. Like with Hannah, he's fine. I don't think he's like manipulating her or anything like that. Like I don't think he's gonna win. He'll probably go home next week, or I don't know. I don't think he's gonna.
Yeah, I don't think he will either.
I just think like I don't think she's that into him. But I do not like how he talks to Luke. Not that I love Luke, but I definitely think he eggs Luke on. And it seems like it's fun for him to kind of just egg him. Well, I mean, we'll get into it. They have multiple fights this episode, but so on their date was to go naked bungee jumping.
Oh man!
And I wrote hell no.
Very awkward.
So awkward. I was fuming last night. Like, how dare they not tell her that they have to be naked? Like, that's just like so awkward. I mean, I don't think she knew. I think she knew about the bungee jumping, but I don't think she knew that they had to be, or that they were supposed to be naked, because she looked shocked and like freaking out.
She did, and I don't know how good of an actress she is, but I don't know, because I just don't know. But she did look shocked, and she did look like she was very hesitant. He looked hesitant, but I think he was just being hesitant because he was trying to not let her know that he was really into it.
Yeah. I mean, what guy won it? Let's be honest. Like, you're gonna be naked with this girl that you think is like hot, and he's the only one that gets that opportunity. Like, I get it. Like, I don't know. Some people are saying that like they're not sure if they were completely naked. Like, I cannot imagine AB like being like, you have to be butt naked. I can't. I'm sure he's probably wearing like a Speedo or something that you couldn't see, because he looked shocked. Like, she said something where she like took off the bra, like, oh, I surprised you. So maybe they were like, you don't have to be completely naked, but if you want to, but you don't have to.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, I was thinking about that too, because in the movies they have a sock that the guy wears, and then they kind of tuck it out of the way, and I was wondering if maybe she was completely naked and he had on something like that.
She probably had like nude underwear or something. I just
something. I don't know.
They would be like, no, strip. Like, you have to be touching. Like, because they were literally touching. Like, I don't know. That's just.
I mean, with my body, no, I would not do that. If I had Garrett's body, 100%, no problem.
But I liked how she did say something about like she wasn't gonna let the fear like stop her, and the fear of like being like judged and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, Hannah, like that's the reason that's stopping you, not because you feel uncomfortable, but just because like you're scared because of what people are gonna think. Like, yeah, do it. Like, that's fine. No one should judge you for it.
Yeah, there's no shame in what she did, you know. It's just, and I don't think, obviously she did it so she doesn't feel ashamed, but there's always that in the back of your head, will other people be ashamed of me?
Yes. Well, she said something like, my mom watches, my mom's going to watch it. That would be my reaction. I'd be like, my parents are going to see this, like, they're going to yell at me.
Would you end up doing it, or would you back out?
Honestly, it probably depends on the guy, too.
Right on.
Because, like, he was really sweet with her, and he was like, it's going to be okay, you're going to be fine. Because I also do not do heights either. Like, bungee jumping is not my thing, so I would be freaking out about that as well. But, I mean, if
she would have done that with all the guys, or just a couple of them, or just Garrett, or could you see her doing that with any of the other guys?
I could see her doing it with Mike and Tyler.
Yeah.
I could see Luke, like, throwing them over the thing. Like, he would be like, yeah, just pick her up. But, like, I don't see him, like, talking her down. Like, I think the other guys would it seems like all of them would really kind of, like, talk her down. I just feel like Luke would be like, you're fine, get over it, and just jump out the thing. Like,
oh, man.
I don't know. So then we move on to, I think we just move on to the dinner date, which I thought overall this whole date was just kind of, except for the bungee jumping, was just kind of typical Bachelor, boring. He didn't say anything that was, like, shocking. His whole family was playing football, and he hated football, so now he plays golf. Like, I was like, all right, cool. Like, he did.
Way to open up there, buddy. I mean, that's some of the stuff that you really want to know when you're trying to get to know someone for marriage. Like, of all the stuff, like whether or not you want to have kids, that doesn't matter. You know, shit like that. That's just meaningless. But like,
these guys don't talk about that kind of stuff. Like, oh, when this is done, who's gonna move where, or do you want me to have a job and a career, or do you want to be the like important marriage questions? It's just like, I hated football, so I play golf. Like, all right.
Golf rocks, marry me.
She's like, okay, but but he did tell her that he was starting to fall in love with her or for her. I don't know. I think some people said he was starting to fall in love for her. But I think he just tripped over his words.
It might be some new young kid slang where it's in between falling in love and falling for someone. It's like right on the line there, but you're not quite over the line.
Well, the whole joke in The Bachelor is that people, like, don't come out and say, like, right away. There's, like, a progress. Like, you have to say, like,
right.
I'm starting to fall in love with you, and then the next one is I'm falling in love with you, and then I am in love with you. Like, there's so many steps you gotta take before you just say, oh, I love you. Which, so he took the first step. He's starting to fall in love. And he got the rose. And I think the last thing to kind of, for me, to just kind of wrap this up, is when he came back and he was, the next day, I think it was, he was telling all the guys about it. And my favorite thing that Luke said was, he said, who would want to be naked with that guy? And I mean, I don't like Luke, but he says really funny things. Like,
yeah, he does. Yes, he does. And I don't know. It just, that dude just cracks me up. I just can't. He's like Percy from Green Mile. I just can't stop hating him.
I don't know. We'll get into it. Do you have any final thoughts about Garrett's date?
No, it just, I mean, other than the bungee jumping, which was like, what, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes of it, like you said, the date was typical. It's the same. The guys all say the same exact thing, almost word for word, but it's always, well, what bothers me is it's always, I want to know more about you, and then, at least to us viewers, we never get to learn more about them.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, well, I'm just a viewer, but I want to find out more about these guys and all that kind of shit or stuff.
I wrote it later with Peter, but it's kind of the same thing. All these guys on their dates, except for like Mike and Tyler, who actually kind of opened up a little bit more, all of them say like these vague things, and then like, but they don't have any meaning. Like they sound nice, but and Luke is the best at it, where it's like, I really want to open myself up. I want you to get to know me, so I hope in the future we have the opportunity. I'm like, no, like open up now. Like, what are you? Or like Peter, like in Peter's date, he was saying that like I had this really hard time with my girlfriend. Doesn't say what it was at all, which I mean, okay, like
yeah,
you don't have to, but I mean.
And she was eating it up.
Kind of do. Like, yeah. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, he didn't say anything. Like, all he said is he had a girlfriend, and it was really hard. Like, I mean, Mike was talking about how his fiance lost a baby. Like, I mean, you shouldn't have to force someone to say hard things. But at this point, like, you need to say more than just, I had a girlfriend and it was hard and it shaped me. Like, okay, how? Like,
yeah.
How?
I mean, when we did our little recap thing on Afterlife, and the episode where Mike told her about his baby, I came in hot. Like, I was upset that he was using the death of the child to try to gain leverage and go further, and I was convinced that that's what it was, and maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. That's not for me to say. I'm not Mike. But now, having continued watching and seeing other guys talking to her and the lack of communication, I'm like, okay, Mike's doing it right. He actually, I do see it now as he really was opening up, and these other guys are not doing that. And Mike, I think, is not getting as much attention from her as he deserves. He seems like a really good guy.
Yeah, that's why I really hope he gets to be Bachelor.
Yeah.
Because I just think yeah, exactly. I don't think he's getting enough attention from Hannah. Like, I think Hannah you can tell Hannah friend zoned everyone but Tyler, Jed, Luke, and Garrett and Peter. Well, I think Garrett's now friend zoned, but you can kind of tell. And it seems like the rest of the guys are kind of okay with it. And speaking of the rest of the guys, so we'll go into our group date, which was everyone but Peter and Garrett. And they walked around and explored the markets in the city that I don't remember, but in Latvia.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it either.
It was we're not going to Latvia. It's fine. Doesn't matter. But they walked around, they explored the market. Dustin ate a fish's head. Okay.
Oh, man.
Hannah shoved the whole pickle in her mouth, which is one of those moments that they cut to the guy's face, and I think it was Dylan's, like, he looked shocked, like, that was really funny. Tyler got her some flowers, which was really sweet, and Tyler is playing this game right. Like, he like made this group date a little bit about himself. Like, it was really, really sweet.
Yeah.
And in that moment, it kind of flashed over to like Dustin and Mike when she like kissed Tyler for giving her the flowers, and they had like the biggest smiles on their face. So like that kind of leads me to believe that I think Dustin and Mike know like they're not going to end up with Hannah. Like, they're not getting picked, but they're just glad that like it's Tyler or someone else. Like, I don't know.
At this point, it's one of those where it's like, I want to win, but if I don't win, I really don't want Luke to win. So all you other guys, good luck and go get her.
I mean, even like when they read out the group date and it was Peter was getting the one-on-one, all the guys were like, "Oh, congrats, Peter, you're a good guy." Like, no one seemed like, I mean, they were upset, but no one was like, "Oh, dang it." They're like, "Oh, well, I like Peter. Like, he's a good guy. That's fine. Whatever."
Yeah.
I mean, contestants have talked about before knowing at a certain point, like, that person's gonna win. Like, I'm just here for the free trip and whatever, like, all the travel and the friends and the booze. Like,
true.
I think, like, you start to kind of realize, like, I'm not winning, but I'll stay as long as I can to go.
Yeah, and I'll have as good of a time as I can while I'm here.
Yeah, like, and if you happen to fall in love, like, yeah, what? I'm for it. And then my favorite part, Hannah, they all like took shots of the moonshine, and she got a little lit. It seems like. That's what I thought she was just like excited. But
yeah, she was kind of silly and up like on a high cloud 9 kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I think she was lit, because she starts talking to the guys about her naked bungee jumping.
Oh yeah. Oh, and they're on a bus or something,
that?
so they can't leave even if they wanted to, you know. But I don't know. From a male perspective, and I would assume that females feel the same way. But if I'm in this situation, it's one of those where I don't want to know what's going on with the other people. The main reason is because I know it's going to drive me crazy emotionally, and I don't want to go through that. Second, because I'm not there for them, I'm there for her, and that's all. I want to keep my eye on the prize. So, but then again, as far as her telling them that, I'm sure she knew that they would find out. So she just went and just jumped right into it, which you've got to give her mad respect for.
I think she handled it I didn't think it was like a bragging thing. Like, she didn't say like, oh, me and Garrett went. Like, she didn't even mention Garrett. She was just like, I did this thing, it was crazy, but I'm so proud of myself for overcoming my fear. So like, I think in that sense, like, it was fine. It was just like her talking to her friends and talking to the guys. But all the guys looked really really uncomfortable when she like brought it up, especially Luke, and that leads me to my next favorite Luke quote of the evening. Is when it kept cutting back and forth, and he said, like, her body is her temple, and to expose it to anyone who is not her husband, that is a slap in my face, which pisses me off because he's not her husband.
No.
So I'm just like, I understand. I think he's valid in his feelings. I think, like, it's okay for him to feel upset, and it's okay for him to think that she's shaming her temple or whatever. Like, I think that's fine, but I do not think he handled this situation well when he confronted her.
Not at all.
What did you think?
Well, my first thing is I tend to take words literally, and for for what they are. And he said, her body is her temple. So that's the key thing for me. If you're going to say that, then you should mean it. It's her temple. And that means whether or not you think it should only be exposed to her husband or whoever else, it still means that it's her temple. And if you don't like it, deal with it or move on. And that's really the bottom line.
Yeah. I mean, like, so I grew up in like a Christian household. So I heard the whole her body is a temple thing from youth pastors, parents. Like, I completely understand that. And it just kind of feels like, I mean, because Luke's saying that he's like a born again Christian and all this stuff, and it kind of feels more of like that's a thing, not like to control her, but to kind of control her.
Oh, I know exactly like, what you mean.
You know what I mean? Like, it's sometimes like it kind of feels like a slut shaming thing sometimes, where when people will say like, but your body's a temple, and it's like, I know, but I can do what I want with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's fun. It was her decision. She didn't do anything terrible to it. Like, she just went naked bungee jumping. Like, you know what I mean? It's not. She wasn't like doing like crack or stuff like that. Like, she was fine. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just like, okay. But I think what just ticks me off is him just saying like, that's a slap in my face. When like, you're not, and she says it, like, you're not her husband. You can't tell her that. I mean, you can voice your opinion, say, oh, I'm really uncomfortable with that idea. But I know for a fact, if it was him and Hannah that went on that date, he would not care. He would not complain.
No, not at all.
Just that it was someone else.
Like, and he would rub it in to the other guys. I mean, I don't like how, really quick, I don't like how Garrett said it to the other guys, because you know, he's like, we decided to go naked bungee jumping. Dude, yes, that's true, but that's like,
not really.
That's like when you're 16 and you're like, Mom, I'm going to go spend the night at Johnny's house. And you go to Johnny's house, then you go out to a party, you go back to Johnny's house and sleep there. It's like, yeah, you went to Johnny's house, but you weren't telling the whole truth. Come on. And it's he did that to try to rile up Luke, I'm sure.
And that's why I don't like Garrett.
yeah, but and I also don't like you said, bringing up from the Christian point of view. I grew up in the church too, and I don't like how he was using his. I'm not sure. I don't know how she feels, but I don't like how he was using his beliefs to try to get her to do something or not do something according to what he liked. That really bothered me more than anything.
It felt very manipulative just because of the fact that, like, she's from Alabama, like, she's from the South, and she has been open before about that. She has lived in a small town, grown up in the church, like, she knows all this stuff. So I feel like that's manipulative of him to say that, like, your body is your tent. Like, because she has, in interviews and stuff, she has said before, like, she's not a virgin anymore, and she felt very ashamed of that for a long time because of her Christian background, and she has finally, like, learned to, like, accept that. And I feel like Luke, this is the beginning of Luke kind of throwing, like, your body is a temple, you need to respect your body, you need to not do stuff like that. Like, that is kind of, like, shaming her in this sense.
Oh, yeah, he was definitely trying. Yeah, I didn't realize that she was believed in God and was religious and whatnot. So that changes it even more to where he's trying to use her own belief against her, and that's really messed up.
It just feels really manipulative. And then in that conversation, because he has the one-on-one conversation with her on the date, we didn't mention that, but he starts out his conversation by saying, like, you're not gonna like what I have to say. Like, don't say that.
That's brilliant, dude.
You're setting yourself up for failure already. And then he goes, have you ever been cheated on? And she's like, yes. And he's like, well, like, that feeling you get, like, that's how I felt. And it's kind of like, like,
and he was totally implying that she was cheating on him too. And that comes up a little bit later in the conversation with Luke and Garrett. About how he thinks, he seems to think that not only is Hannah his girlfriend, Luke thinks this, but she is all of their girlfriends. And then what? She's just like, when she doesn't give a rose to somebody, she's breaking up with them. I don't get what this guy's thinking.
Well, that's kind of is, I guess, a little bit of the mindset. Like, some people will be like, oh yeah, we're all dating one person. It's like the unspoken, we're all I don't know. It's like a weird, no one
Is there a difference between dating and boyfriend, girlfriend now? Because in my day, you dated someone, and that didn't mean that they were your girlfriend. It just meant that I'm dating her.
Yes, that's how this is. But I guess, I see what you're saying. Luke is taking it like, no, we're boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, this is official. Like,
he's like on some next level shit.
But no, you're just dating. You're just getting to know this person.
But then not only that, but, like, he's not okay with her bungee jumping with somebody else naked, and it bothers him that she's kissing all these other dudes. But according to him and what he said, she's kissing her other boyfriends, and she's going bungee jumping naked with her other boyfriends.
Yeah.
You know, so he's all over the place. Himself. Yeah, you can see it in his eyes. His mind is just racing a million miles a second.
Well, he contradicts everything he says in a later conversation that we'll get to. But I want to move on to, real fast, the Peter 101 date, which was a weird spa date.
Yes, it was.
The lady was, like, singing songs. They were, like, hitting each other with the plants and
I thought they were beating each other. I'm like, dude, you're trying to marry her. What are you doing?
She, like, hit him on the butt, and the guy was like, oh, no. Like, scolded her. It was so funny. So here's the thing I have a hot take about Peter.
Give it to me.
I don't like Peter. I put it in the notes. Everyone, a lot, like, I listen to a lot of like podcasts and look on Twitter to see people's tweets and stuff, and a lot of people really, really want Peter to be the next Bachelor if he doesn't win. Which I do not, obviously. We've both said we want Mike.
Yes, want Mike all the way.
I just don't, like, I just think Peter's so boring. He's just so, like, he just feels like every other contestant that has been on this show. Like, he's just boring and cookie cutter, and I don't know. Like, I just don't like him. I don't really find him sexy or hot, and every time they make out, which I'll get into it, is just really awkward to watch. They're in the hot tub, and I'm screaming at my television for him to stop trying to make out with her, because this is so awkward. And she's like trying to talk to him, and he just kind of like pushes her up against the wall in the middle of her conversation and starts making out with her, which I'm like, okay, like, all right, that's okay, I see the aggression, like, that's fine. But then it's like so awkward, like trying to push her down and like trying to make out with her, and it's just really, I just find it so awkward until, like, and she does this every time they make out. Hannah will flip and go on top, and then it turns like hot and sexy when she's in charge. So I'm just like, it happened on the pool table, like when they were making out in Scotland, and he bumped her into the light, and they're making out, and then she switches, and then it's fine. Like, it's so awkward. Like, I don't know. I don't want him to be Bachelor.
I don't either, and I don't know, something at the dinner they were talking, and I kept thinking back to, he's a pilot, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, there's just something looking at him that makes me feel sketchy, but then she actually kind of asked him about his job and being away from home so much, and I'm like, why is he even here just based on that? Because, I mean, unless she's okay with him not being home, not being around, and also, I mean, I'm not discriminating against pilots or anything, but maybe the aggression comes because he's hitting on chicks in every city when he's on his off time.
I didn't even think about, like, the stress of him being a pilot and never being around until she brought it up. I'm like, oh my god, you're right. Like, that is going to be hard and difficult. And I don't know. He was, like I said earlier, he was the one that I had a really hard relationship, and it made me a stronger person, and that was all. Like, no details.
Yeah, he let us see that he has guards around his heart, and that was about all I found out from him. Other than, like Garrett, he's falling for her.
Oh, he did say that.
Yep.
He did say he was okay. Well, I don't know. I still think Peter's going to go pretty far. I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
It honestly all depends on if we find out that Jed has a girlfriend or not. Because if Jed tells her, I think Peter will go past Jed. Because I think Jed is, like, a front runner for sure. He's 1 or 2.
Sadly, yes, I agree.
I just think it depends if he does say, like, oh, I wasn't completely honest with you, I do have a girlfriend at home. Or if that never comes up and that's something that came out after. It all depends on how this gets handled. And I think we got our first set of the Bachelor cliche of fireworks, which I was super excited about.
I like fireworks.
Every season they have to have a big Bachelor kiss in front of the fireworks, and I think we finally got it. Just something fun. And then Peter comes back from the date, and I just thought it was really funny that as soon as he sits down, Jed just gets up and just goes out. And it's so uncomfortable to watch, knowing that what we know about the girlfriend, just watching him standing outside, singing songs to her.
Yeah.
And then going aside and singing more songs, like, just thinking that he came on this show for his music, and now all he does now is just play music. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's super
Was he the one that was playing piano also?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this entire episode, he just played music. Like, that's all he did. like 4 times. At the end, he just keeps playing music at any chance he can get.
And she eats it up every single time.
Yes, oh my god. When he got done playing the guitar, she grabbed it and she's like, okay, that was nice.
Oh, I could see him when he was in college. He was the guy sitting barefoot down in the grass in the quad playing his guitar.
Yeah, he got every girl in college, I'm sure. Like,
oh, you know it.
Girls love, it's true. We're cliche. We love musicians. Guitar, mainly guitar. We like guitar and piano. Like that. That's it. And I think he knows it. He knows it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he knows.
He's working it. And Jed tells Hannah that he is falling in love with her. Or in love with her, not falling in
love. No way.
I don't remember what
is he really? Is that what he said? They all say it, not him too. No way. I don't believe it.
They're making out in the bed, and he like whispers something to her, and he's like, "I truly mean it. I truly mean this." And he either said, I think he said, I'm falling in love with you. I don't think he said I'm in love with you.
They're all falling for her, man. She must be amazing.
Fast. Like, really. Man. Usually it's like the second to final episode. Like, this is really fast. All these guys are like, I'm in love with you.
Is she really amazing, or are they just really clingy, you know?
So that's why I wanted to ask you, what do you think? Like, what's your impressions of Hannah?
Impressions is that she seems super fun to hang out with, and I've got friends that are kind of her style, and so I could totally hang out with her and stuff like that, but I could never date her. She just, I don't know. I mean this in the nicest way possible, but I can't stand her talking about things that she doesn't know anything about.
Yeah. I really like Hannah. I didn't like her because she was on the Bachelor season, or in Colton season's last season, and that's how she became Bachelorette. And I didn't like her starting out. She just was kind of a hot mess the entire time. And I was really nervous about how she was going to handle this season. And I think she's doing a really, really good job. But I really like her. I think she's really down to earth. I think she's very open and honest with these guys. I don't think she thinks half the time. Not in like a bad way, not in like a Luke way where Luke doesn't think when he opens his mouth. But I just feel like Hannah's like, I'm not going to be afraid to say things or feel the way I feel, or just like let people know what's on my mind right now. Which isn't bad, but sometimes I'm just kind of like the fact that she's keeping Luke around is just frustrating.
Oh, I was screaming at the TV.
It's
just because I don't understand. I don't understand it. I can't fathom what is going on and why he's still there. I can't imagine how frustrated those other guys are. They were actually there and getting booted off because of this guy sticking around.
Well,
holy hell.
Okay, so the last couple things. So Garrett and Luke had another confrontation. So many. Had another confrontation, and they keep talking about like they gotta stay in each other, they gotta stay in their own lane, they gotta stay in their lane. And I just think I think in this conversation Garrett came off looking really bad to me personally. Yeah. Because he just kept saying like, you gotta stay in your lane, but he was being like a hypocrite because he's like, don't ask about my date, like why are you asking about my date, when he like multiple times have asked Hannah about Luke's date and what Luke says about them, and it's kind of like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah, and not to mention he's the one who came back from their date and told them what they did.
Yeah,
you know, so he's telling Luke, mind your own business and stay out of my dates. But if he wouldn't have told them, then Luke never would have known. And you can see he's having fun just pushing Luke's buttons.
Oh, yeah. And
And that's a bad signal. And she doesn't see it because she's not around when it happens. So it's super frustrating for us viewers.
So Garrett looks like, and I wrote it in the notes, Garrett looks like what a typical villain of the Bachelor season looks like. So every season there's someone they pick out to be the villain, and they'll cut around it.
Right.
And this year it's Luke, but he's not a normal villain because he's not, except like manipulating Hannah, like he isn't like being like snaky really with the other guys like Garrett is. Like most of the villains, like they will gaslight all the other people. I mean, Luke does it, but they'll do exactly what Garrett's doing. They'll be really snaky about it and have that smile on their face about it, but then be super sweet to Hannah. Where like Luke is just manipulating everyone, but the whole time he just looks like he's a puppy dog, and Luke just kind of looks like, me? Like, I didn't do that. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, just kind of zoned out, where Garrett almost seems calculated with every move that he's making.
Right.
Which is frustrating, but he'll probably go home soon, so that's okay.
I hope so.
I think he's going home next week. Like, he's for sure going home next week.
She's still going to keep Luke around longer than Garrett, even?
I don't know.
I don't understand, Sarah. Explain to me, why is Luke still around? I don't get it.
I don't know. I'm getting to that point. I could understand at first. We're kind of like, okay, you have this amazing chemistry with him and he's hot or whatever. But like, and we'll get into it, she has a private conversation with him talking about the conversation that they had where he called her out on her temple and all that stuff. And she is like, I had to collect my thoughts, and here they are. And she, you could tell, is really hurt by what he said to her, and started saying like, you said you wouldn't want me to meet your family. Like, you said all this stuff, and then you said I made boneheaded decisions, but you're still gonna love me when I make those kind of decisions. And you can tell like he's like, oh like crap, that's not what I was trying to say. And it was just kind of a mess to watch, because I'm like, in one hand, Luke is like, no, I didn't say that. And then in the next breath, he lies about like what he just said. Like, he just is straight lying. And you can tell like she's just getting frustrated. And that's what's getting frustrated. I'm starting to get really frustrated with her too, because I'm like, okay, I can see it before why you kept him around, because you believe there was something there. But now like she just keeps saying like, as she said at the end, I don't know if I'm really starting to love him or he's just driving me crazy. And it's like, let him go. Like, let him go. Like,
yes, please.
It's not, and it's not like fun. It never was fun to watch, but now it's really not fun to watch, because it's just like, I'm starting to feel really bad for her, because he's really manipulating her, and you can tell, and it's not healthy behavior to bring into any relationship. And that's what's frustrating, when you have great guys like Mike and Tyler that are constantly giving her like the good reassurance. And Tyler even said like, it's her body, she can do whatever she wants, it's her decision, like we need to respect that. But she's still so caught up with Luke, and Luke's just being like awful and saying, I didn't say that, and then starts gaslighting her and is like saying like, oh, that's how you took it, but I didn't say it like that. And it's like, no, you did say it like that.
Yeah, she misunderstands everything that he says, according to him. Yeah, because she does not misunderstand it. She understands perfectly fine.
Yeah, he was like, I'm sorry that you misunderstand everything I say. And I'm like,
yes.
What are you saying? Like,
yeah, what? Dude, imagine having that fight with her if you're actually married, you know, and then saying that to your wife, dude. That's going to be a fucking fight. Sorry about that. That's going to be a fight.
No, it's just like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I can't make excuses for, I just feel bad. Like, I just feel really bad that there's just something about him that she just wants to keep around. I really think it's just her insecurities. Like, I think it's her insecurities, and her anxieties that are keeping him around for so long, and that just makes me feel really bad for her.
No matter what, as far as she and Luke are concerned, I lost all sympathy for her a couple weeks back when she asked him a very simple question: do you like mac and cheese over spaghetti? And we still don't know the answer to that.
I still don't know. And
I know. Oh, I should tweet at him. I should just tweet at him and ask him, dude, I have to know.
I gotta know.
It's been killing me. It's really stupid. It's funny, but I'm not kidding. It's been bothering me.
That tells a lot about a person. Mac and cheese or spaghetti. I don't know. So then the guys start fighting again. Nothing's new. I mean, they're just all fighting and all kind of Garrett's just sitting back, just pushing Luke. And then Luke and Tyler start fighting. It's just a mess. And, I mean, they cancel the cocktail party and they start the rose ceremony.
I thought for sure Luke was gone.
I knew Luke wasn't gone. He's still.
Well, I mean, deep down I knew he wasn't, but I mean, the way they edited it, it was like, dude, it has to be him that's gone.
Oh, yeah. Well, she, like, says to him, like, in so many words, like, you're on thin ice. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do with you anymore. Like, I don't know what to do. And she keeps giving him these chances. And, I mean, there's still a lot of promo footage that we haven't seen of Luke. So I don't know how long he's going to be here. But Dylan and Dustin got cut, went home. Neither of them got one-on-one dates. I mean,
ever?
No.
Man.
They were the only two. So when
you get
to this point in the season, and the people that start to leave are the ones that just never, you could tell, like, weren't going to form connections with them.
Yeah. They're just fodder.
Yeah, they're just, bye. They're just there. Yep. And Luke got that final rose to everyone's sadness.
Yep.
But so next week, so this is where the season starts to get a little interesting. The formats kind of start to change. We are at 7 guys, right? Yeah, 7. Had to do math. We're at 7 guys. And we have to go from 7 to 4 guys. So just cut 3 people next week. So she will, usually at this point, they'll go on another one-on-one date with some of the guys, because all of them at this point have had one-on-one dates. So she'll go on one-on-one dates with these guys, and whoever are left, I think it's going to be like a 3-on-1 date, and that looks like it's going to be Garrett and Luke, based on promo. They'll be on a date together, so that's going to be really fun to watch, and we'll see who gets the rose out of that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because, man, those boys, they got to go get that rose.
They got to go get that rose.
Hell yeah.
That great way to end our episode. Super excited about the rest of the season. It seems like it's going to be insane. Which is exciting, because usually at this point for me, I kind of fall off, just boring. But this season just looks crazy, so I'm super excited. Thank you so much for joining me. Where can people find you, J Wade?
You can find me on the Twitter at jwade1134.
Okay, I have to pull up my Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at SESEABOCK. It's SECBOC, all spelled out. And we will be here next week recapping the next episode of our girl Hannah's season. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye!